I never thought love could hurt this much. The first time my heart raced, it felt like magic. But behind the smile of the one I trusted most, there was a secret I wasn't ready to face. People told me first love is beautiful, innocent, unforgettable. But mine was different. It began with butterflies and ended with scars I still carry today. If only I had known that my first time falling in love would change everything forever. I remember the first day I saw him, it was like the world slowed down. Every laugh, every glance pulled me closer without me even realizing it. We met at school, a simple hallway conversation, nothing extraordinary, yet somehow it changed everything. I was shy, he was confident, and somehow our differences made us fit together perfectly. We started talking every day, small notes, quick smiles across the classroom, innocent messages that made my heart race. At first, it was just friendship, harmless, pure. I would wait for his messages after class, staring at my phone, counting seconds, feeling something I had never felt before. Every day felt like a new adventure, a world created just for the two of us. I shared my secrets, my dreams, my fears. He listened, really listened, and I felt safe, truly safe. No one had ever understood me like he did. We laughed together, stayed after school to talk, walked home in the evenings, the world around us blurred, and it was only us. My friends noticed. They teased me about my constant smiles, about how I seemed lighter, happier. I didn't care. I couldn't hide it even if I wanted to. Every moment with him, every shared glance was intoxicating. But in the back of my mind, there was a tiny voice, a whisper, that maybe not everything was as perfect as it seemed. I ignored it, thinking I was imagining things because I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe that first love was as magical as everyone said it would be. Little did I know that magic could also burn. As days turned into weeks, we became inseparable. He knew things about me that no one else did, the way I laughed, the way I hid my insecurities, even my smallest habits. I trusted him completely, and in return, I thought he trusted me too. We would spend hours talking about our future, silly dreams, hopes, impossible plans. It felt like life had a rhythm, a pattern, a promise. Even my parents noticed. They smiled at us, called us inseparable, and I believed that this love, my first love, would last forever. But then subtle cracks started appearing. He would sometimes be distracted, distant, his phone would vibrate, and he would step away. I tried not to notice, told myself, everyone gets busy, everyone has their own space. But the feeling lingered like a shadow behind a sunny day. I caught glimpses of his laughter, but sometimes it wasn't with me. And I wondered, was I imagining things or was something changing? Still, every time he looked at me, I felt it, that spark, that pull, that magic. I didn't want to ruin it by asking, by doubting, by showing the tiniest insecurity. So I smiled and nodded and hoped. Hope became my constant companion. Hope that maybe it was nothing. Hope that maybe it was just a phase. Hope that first love would protect me from the pain I was slowly sensing. We had our secret world, our own little moments, notes passed in class, shared lunches, whispers across the hall. And every time I saw him smile at me, my doubts faded, just for a moment. But deep inside, the whispers grew louder. The shadows stretched longer. Something was coming. I just didn't know what. School days blended into weekends, weekends into late nights, texting, sharing music, sending pictures of the little things that made us happy. It was a rhythm I depended on, our little bubble of first love, perfect in my mind. We went on our first real date, walking by the lake, sharing ice cream, holding hands, and the world felt like it belonged only to us. I remember thinking, this is it. This is what love feels like, pure, magical, unstoppable. But then the first sign of tension appeared. He joked about other girls, laughing, sending messages that I couldn't see, and I felt a pang, a little jealousy, a little fear that I couldn't name. I didn't want to seem possessive. I didn't want to ruin what we had. So I smiled, pretended it didn't matter. But inside, my heart whispered warnings. And then came the first argument, small, about nothing but everything. I said something that I didn't mean. He said something that hurt. We made up quickly, laughed it off, but the seed of doubt was planted. I noticed the little things after that, the way he looked at his phone, the way he sometimes disappeared without saying why. I tried to tell myself, everyone has their secrets. Everyone has their own world. But my heart, my first heart, wasn't ready for secrets, not from him, not from anyone. And yet, I couldn't stay away. I wanted to believe in us, in love, in magic. Every note, every smile, every touch pulled me back, even as my mind warned me. Little moments began to feel heavy, little silences felt like storms. And still, I stayed, because it was my first time falling in love and I didn't know any other way. Weeks passed, and the tension grew, subtle, unspoken, lingering like a shadow. I tried to focus on the laughter, the late-night conversations, the small joys, but it was harder. Each day a little heavier. Sometimes I caught him smiling at someone else or a message popping up, and I forced myself not to look, not to care. But curiosity, fear, jealousy, they all crept in, uninvited. I noticed how my stomach would twist when he was distant, or distracted, or happy without me. And still, I clung to the moments when it was just us, the magic of first love. Then, the final moment of the setup, something shifted. I saw a message on his phone, a small glimpse, something I wasn't supposed to see. It didn't make sense at first. I thought I was imagining, overthinking. But deep down, I knew the bubble was about to burst. My first love, the thing I had built my heart around, was no longer untouched. And in that moment, I realized something was about to break. The perfect magic of first love was slipping through my fingers, and I didn't know how to stop it. I never thought it could happen, not to me, not with him. The first hint of betrayal came as a simple message, just a small notification, but it felt like an earthquake. I froze, my hands trembling, my heart pounding. I couldn't believe what I saw, the texts, the hidden chats, the way he laughed at things he never laughed at with me. Denial took over first. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I misread it. Maybe I was imagining things. But the truth has a way of pushing through, no matter how tightly you try to hold it back. I remembered our laughter, our secret jokes, our long conversations, and suddenly, every moment felt like a lie. I confronted him, trembling voice, trying to keep my tears from falling. Why would you do this to me? I whispered. He looked guilty but calm, too calm, and that calm broke me more than anger ever could. I felt my stomach drop, a hollow emptiness opening up inside me. All the trust one had, every secret I shared, every hope I had placed in him evaporated in an instant. I wanted to scream, to run, to hide, to disappear. But I didn't. I stayed frozen in disbelief, trying to make sense of it. And then came the anger, sharp, bitter, burning through every inch of me. How could he do this? My first love, my heart, the person I had trusted more than anyone. I wanted to hit him, to yell, to break something, anything. But I couldn't. I was paralyzed by shock, by the betrayal, by the sudden realization that my heart was no longer safe. And in that raw moment, something stirred, deep inside, a dark, dangerous thought. If he could betray me, if he could hurt me like this, then maybe I could. I didn't know how. I didn't know when, but the seed of revenge had been planted. For days, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. Every memory we shared became tainted, every smile, every touch, every whispered secret. I replayed the messages over and over, trying to convince myself it was a mistake, but my heart knew better. I started to notice things I had ignored before. The little glances he gave other girls, the unexplained absences, the lies hidden behind casual excuses. Pain gave way to anger. Anger gave way to obsession. I couldn't stop thinking about it, about him, about what he had done, about how easily he had broken my trust. And yet, I couldn't show it, not to anyone, not my friends, not my family. Because if they knew, if they saw the truth, everything I had built would crumble. I began to plan quietly, cautiously. I would find a way to make him feel the same betrayal, the same heartbreak, the same fear. I imagined the moment, seeing the shock in his eyes, the disbelief, the pain mirrored back at him. But it was risky, dangerous, thrilling. What if he found out it was me? What if someone else saw my plan? What if I ruined everything? The thought didn't stop me, it fueled me. I started small, watching, observing, taking note of his routines, his friends, the secrets he kept. Every laugh, every message, every tiny slip of behavior became data, became a tool, became ammunition. I had to be careful, patient, strategic. And all the while, I kept pretending, smiling, laughing, hiding the storm inside me. No one could see the fire burning in my chest. No one could know the darkness that had taken root. Because the moment of payback, the moment of truth, had to be perfect. Weeks passed, and the tension inside me grew stronger. Every day, I wore a mask, cheerful, composed, innocent, while planning every detail in secret. I watched him with others, pretending not to notice, pretending it didn't hurt. But inside, every smile he gave someone else, every careless touch, it sharpened my resolve. I started gathering information, little secrets, tiny vulnerabilities, the things he thought no one knew. Each discovery gave me power, a thrill I couldn't explain. And yet, I felt the weight of it all, the moral line I was crossing, the danger of being discovered. What if someone finds out it was me? I whispered to myself, heart racing. The thought both scared me and excited me. I began to plan the first move, carefully, methodically. It had to sting, it had to be unforgettable, but it also had to be subtle, undetectable. I rehearsed scenarios in my mind over and over, imagining every reaction, every consequence. And then the moment came, small, seemingly innocent, but deadly in effect. I sent a message, left a clue, planted a thought, something that would make him question, doubt, panic. I didn't see him immediately, but the ripple of consequences began to spread. His friends started noticing. He grew nervous, his usual confidence faltered. I watched silently, heart pounding, satisfaction mixed with fear. I had begun the first step of revenge, and it felt intoxicating, terrifying, thrilling. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt alive again. The days after my first move were tense, electric, full of uncertainty. Every interaction with him was a game, a test, a dance of deception. I saw the cracks forming, the anxiety in his eyes, the sleepless nights, the whispers he couldn't hide. And with every small victory, my confidence grew. My plan took shape. I knew I was walking a fine line, one false step, and everything would collapse. What if someone finds out it was me? I repeated over and over, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't turn back. The thrill of the risk became addictive. I started thinking bigger, bolder, the stakes higher. Every message, every rumor, every small exposure I orchestrated, it all worked like a chain reaction. And then, I saw him, confused, worried, helpless, exactly as I had imagined. The taste of revenge was bitter, but satisfying. I had made him feel a fraction of the pain I had endured. And yet, even in victory, a small voice whispered, "This isn't enough. This is dangerous. This could all blow up." But I ignored it for now, for the first time in weeks. I allowed myself to feel control, to feel power. The seed of betrayal had grown, and now I was both the watcher and the storm. The consequences had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. The day finally came. I could feel it in my bones, every heartbeat loud, every breath heavy. All the planning, all the waiting, all the tension, it led to this moment. I saw him across the room, unaware, confident, thinking nothing could touch him. I walked closer, each step measured, deliberate. And then, I let it begin. A message sent, a secret revealed, something he never expected. I watched him open it, confusion first, then shock, then panic. His face turned pale, his eyes searching, desperate. What is this?" he demanded, voice trembling. I didn't answer. I just let him feel it, let him realize what had been done. The whispers around us grew, friends looking, colleagues noticing, everyone sensing the tension. He tried to deny it, tried to explain, but the evidence was undeniable. I felt a strange mix of triumph and horror. Triumph because he finally felt my pain, horror because it had to go this far. "I trusted you," I said, voice low, cutting. "And you betrayed me," he stammered, eyes wide. It was surreal. The power shifted, the balance of our first love broken. Every little secret, every slip I had observed, now exposed like lightning striking. I saw people staring, some shocked, some amused. And in that moment, I realized revenge was no longer a private affair, it had public consequences. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. I needed him to feel it, to truly understand. I stepped closer, voice calm, almost serene. "Now you'll know how it feels to lose trust, to lose someone who believed in you completely." He swallowed hard, every word sinking, every heartbeat a reminder of what he had done. And just like that, the first act of confrontation ended, leaving ripples of shock through everyone around us. I turned and walked away, letting the silence speak louder than any words. But the storm wasn't over, it was only beginning. The next hours were chaos, whispers, glances, accusations. He tried to follow me, to explain, to plead, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. "This ends now," I said, my voice steady. "No more lies, no more games." He looked at me, pleading, eyes filled with fear and regret. "You don't understand, it's not what you think," he stammered. "Oh, I understand perfectly," I replied, voice cold, distant. I had anticipated this, every word, every reaction, every desperate attempt to turn it around. And still watching him struggle, knowing he had finally tasted a fraction of my pain, it was intoxicating, terrifying, satisfying, all at once. People began talking, asking questions, searching for answers, trying to connect the dots. I watched silently, my pulse steady, my mind sharp. He approached me again. "Please, I can fix this." "No," I said, firm. "You broke it. You fix nothing. You only feel it now as I did." The crowd sensed the tension. Some moved closer, some stepped back, everyone aware that a confrontation was happening. I had made my move, revealed the betrayal, and now the final moment of reckoning loomed. I thought of all the nights I cried, all the doubts, all the fear, all the obsessive planning. And now, the culmination, the ultimate exposure, the final strike. I whispered under my breath, "It ends tonight, and you will never forget it." He flinched, as if he had heard my soul speaking. No one had ever seen me like this, calm, composed, but deadly in my resolve. I handed over proof, evidence he could not deny, secrets laid bare. His eyes widened, and for the first time, he looked small, vulnerable, human. You did all this?" he asked, voice barely audible. I just nodded, letting silence punctuate the moment, letting reality crush him slowly. And then, the last piece fell into place. The shock on his face mirrored every tear I had shed, every heartbreak, every sleepless night. The crowd finally understood the betrayal, the revenge, the justice, all rolled into one. And as I walked away, heart pounding, pulse racing, I knew the climax of my first love, my first heartbreak, had arrived. The final confrontation wasn't loud, it didn't need to be. It was sharp, cutting, concise, every word a dagger. "You thought you could hide it from me?" I said, stepping closer, voice low, deadly. I didn't mean." He tried, faltered, fear in every syllable. "You broke me," I interrupted. "You took my trust, my heart, and you thought it meant nothing." I saw tears, genuine fear, maybe even regret. Finally, he felt it. And in that moment, I realized revenge is never just about hurting someone, it's about reclaiming yourself, your power, your dignity. The evidence I had collected laid out, undeniable, public, humiliating, and perfect. He could deny nothing, explain nothing, defend nothing. And with every glance from the people around us, the weight of his betrayal pressed down. I said one last thing, soft, cold, unforgettable. "Let this be the lesson you never forget. Trust is everything, and you destroyed it." He sank to the floor, defeated, exposed, finally understanding the magnitude of what he had done. And as I walked away, adrenaline still rushing, my heart heavy, I realized something else. Revenge satisfies, but it never heals completely. I had won, he had lost, but the emptiness lingered. The pain still hummed. The memory of first love shattered. The crowd whispered, some in awe, some in shock, some in fear. And I knew nothing would ever be the same for either of us. The storm was over, the climax reached, but the consequences, they would echo forever. I breathed in and let the silence sink in, the finality of it all. First love, first heartbreak, first revenge, all completed in one dramatic moment. And as I left, I realized some moments change you forever, and nothing, not even time, can take that away. The chaos finally ended, the storm had passed, but the echoes lingered. I stood alone, breathing, heart still racing, adrenaline fading, leaving a hollow emptiness. Revenge had been satisfying. He had felt the pain, the betrayal, the heartbreak mirrored back. But as the dust settled, I realized satisfaction is fleeting, and scars last forever. I walked through the quiet streets, remembering the first time I had trusted him, the first laugh we shared, the first secret I told. Every memory, once sweet, now bittersweet, tinged with sorrow and regret. I thought I would feel relief, triumph, closure, but instead, I felt a strange mix of a heaviness, a longing, a void. The people around me noticed. They said I looked stronger, composed, untouchable. They didn't know, they couldn't see, the quiet ache beneath the surface. Even as he disappeared from my life, even as the revenge achieved its goal, the wounds remained. I realized that first love, the intensity of it, is a double-edged sword. It teaches you, it shapes you, it can lift you to the highest heights or crush you into the deepest lows. I thought about the lessons: trust, honesty, self-worth, boundaries. And I understood, revenge is never just about the other person, it's about reclaiming your own sense of self. But in the process, it leaves traces, marks that cannot be erased. Sometimes, I closed my eyes and I saw him smiling, the way he once made my heart flutter. And then, I remembered the betrayal, the lies, the heartbreak, and the anger. And I let it go slowly, painfully, letting go of the need for justice, leaving only the memory, the lesson, the scars. I rebuilt myself, piece by piece, finding strength in the emptiness, courage in the pain. I learned that peace, true peace, doesn't come from revenge. It comes from within, from accepting what happened, acknowledging the hurt, and moving forward. I still think about that first love, sometimes in quiet moments, in fleeting memories. It shapes who I am, who I became, and who I will be. Some nights, I feel the weight of it, a whisper of the past. But I smile because I survived, because I learned, because I found myself again. And I know now that love, first love, is a lesson, a beautiful, painful, unforgettable lesson. It leaves scars, yes, but it also leaves wisdom, resilience, strength. And in that, I find a quiet sense of peace. If this story touched you, made your heart race, or brought back memories of your first love, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences in the comments. Let's talk about the lessons, the heartbreaks, and the moments that changed us. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more emotional, real-life storytime experiences. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future stories that explore love, betrayal, and the twists of human emotions. Your voice matters, and your story could inspire someone else today.